3 all-new features just shipping into Copilot for SharePoint. First one lets you bring your skills with you from site to site. The second one lets your skills improve themselves. And the third one lets any agent, not just Copilot and SharePoint, publish great HTML files into SharePoint. Let's go through demos of all 3. We're going to start by looking at personal skills. Personal skills live inside your OneDrive, here inside a Copilot agent assets folder inside of your OneDrive file space. And so here you can see the skills that I currently have in my personal skills library. These are structured exactly like regular skills. They are created in the same way as regular skills. You just get to save them as a personal skill. When saved as a personal skill, it means that any site you visit will have those along with you. And so you can see here, I like to bring all of my design skills with me from site to site. In this way, I can actually leverage those design capabilities on the site when I'm doing a design, and then I can take them with me instead of having to install them on every site. So I find this super useful, but let's go ahead and add to my set of personal skills. I could do this here, but I'm actually gonna go ahead and just go into a random SharePoint site to show how personal skills interact with the skills that may be inside of that site collection. I had a great demo the other day from Peter Yang online. He has an open source skill called No AI Slop. It's got a bunch of patterns that he has built. It's good. Lots of people using it. You can go check it out on GitHub. But I'm going to build my own so that I can tweak it and play with it myself over time. So instead of copying that skill, let's go ahead and just build our own skill live. So I'm going to paste in the prompt here and I'll talk to you about it. But really, the key thing here is I'm going to create a personal skill that has these starting principles. So it looks for things like false binaries or throat clearing openers, manufactured insights. These are the patterns that Peter identified that I'm just going to start from for our own set of skills. And so these are concepts that make your verbiage sound more AI. And so this lets you clean up your content that you might generate over time by just asking for it. And that's something I want to do on any site. I don't want that to be specifically just on one site at a time. So this is going to go ahead and create the skill, and then we'll see it show up in our OneDrive. All right, the skill has been generated. We can see it. But more importantly, we can open the skill location, which is going to open up a tab, and you'll notice here we are back in my OneDrive where this slop check skill now exists. And if I go back, you can see it's right alongside all of those design skills that I mentioned before. So let's put it to use. So again, I'm just going to create a new chat inside of this SharePoint site. I'm just going to give it some AI slop to go clean up. So key thing here, this is going to go ahead and load a skill that is specifically that slop check skill. You can see here it tagged with your personal skill. It would say site skill if it was a site installed skill. But this is going to go ahead and edit that draft for me, doing all the things that we just identified from that skill. And I can call this from any SharePoint site. So it doesn't matter what site I'm on. This is now following me around from site to site. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just start a new session and go into the second new feature, which is the improve skill. So I'm just going to tell it to use the improve skill on slop check, that skill we just created, and have it rewrite, just sort of identify some elements that I wanted it to look at. It's rewriting drafts I didn't ask it to touch, including content generated itself. So I went ahead and called improve skill very explicitly. And here you can see it's actually going to come back and give me some guidance. Let me zoom out a little bit so that we can all look at this together. But actually what we see here is that it went ahead and came up with a test plan. So created a happy path where it says, I'm going to run this command, and it's very explicit. It's got this one that's a little less explicit. It's got some edge cases, and then it has an adversarial test. It will create its own evaluations for this and then come up with a test for it. And so all I have to do is read that, make sure that the happy path and the adversarial path, that these various test plans make sense to me. I want to make sure that it doesn't validate or try to improve the skill in a way that doesn't match the problems that I think it's facing. And then it's going to run. It's going to essentially do an automatic flow where it will evaluate its performance against a set of criteria and try to optimize that system. And so you can actually see it went very, very quickly, but it came up with a baseline. It essentially ran an experiment to see how well it did at its own test. It found that it had a little bit of room for improvement, and then it actually validated a set of changes. So I can overwrite the existing, I can save a new, or I can discard it. I'm going to go ahead and overwrite. But now I essentially have one that has been validated to actually be better than the original copy for the problems that I've identified. But it really will help you leverage it to improve the skill, to make sure it's only called when it should be, and then it's getting triggered by the right phrases, and then it's having the right capabilities. And so lots of great ways to put improved skill to use. All right, for our last new feature, every Microsoft 365 customer now has an underscore HTML page. So that is accessible at customername.sharepoint.com/underscore HTML. So whatever your path to your SharePoint sites are, at that root underscore HTML will take you to this page. This page includes instructions for agents on how to build SharePoint ready HTML. SharePoint has unique capabilities like live linked lists. It's also the most safe and secure way to share HTML content with others. And the reason for that is the sandbox that the HTML runs in is safe, no risk from JavaScript attacks. The flip side of that, though, is most agents will try to build HTML that is not sandbox safe by default. So no need to instruct your agent in all the details. You just point it at this page. All right, and so let's put it to use. Here I am in GitHub Copilot, but again, this works in Claude Code, Codex, any Copilot Studio agent, Cowork. Name your agentic harness, and all you have to do is say, use this underscore HTML from my tenant to generate a new HTML that explains why Copilot in SharePoint is amazing. So this will go and fetch that file that you can see here, which has agent-ready instructions embedded in it to tell it how to build stuff that is safe for SharePoint and works out of the box. Leverages all the features like live linked lists or live linking to CSV and HTML, handles sandboxing, and is ready to be used. This HTML is specific to your tenant and will get updated as new features roll into your tenant. So just keep pointing your agents at it, and it will stay up to date with what information it needs to be able to work with the latest and greatest features that are obviously available in Copilot in SharePoint, but now generating great HTML reports can be done by any agent you want to use. That's all I have. Those are the 3 new awesome features that are now available in Copilot and SharePoint for you. There's so much more happening, so please stay tuned and look forward to see what you build.